this is my 1994 Camaro Z28 that I bought from my cameraman to restart my trade-up challenge. I've had this car listed up on Marketplace for 2 weeks and nobody's wanted it. Who would have told me nobody wants the bright red Camaro that leaks and burns oil and has lots of problems? But nevertheless, I've found a trade-up, so in this video we're gonna embark on a little bit of a road trip and we're gonna see if we can't get something better than this red turd. So get in the car! You're not allowed out, you're coming with me, whether you like it or not. Get in! As you guys can see, the car leaks an alarming amount of oil. That's from about 10 minutes. So let's do a little preventative maintenance for this trip. How low is it? I don't know. It's a little low. Good thing I have oil. Don't worry, I told the guy I'm trading with the problems that the car has, so it'll be fine. Glug, 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 glug. I'm gonna put 2 quarts in it. It only needs 1, but I'm pretty sure in the hour trip we're about to take, it's probably gonna leak out / burn the other one. So when they check the oil, it'll be perfect. Don't be commenting saying Tom is a shady used car salesman. I already know. Let's all hope and pray this is the last time we cold start this Camaro. Sounds pretty good, I might say. Cameraman and I are gonna drive this. It's about an hour trip. Declan's gonna follow in case anything happens. Then we'll just flat tow it, but I think we'll make it. So let's hit the road. This thing is pretty fun, and I'll admit I'm a little sad to see it go. However, I'm not that sad. As everybody has commented in the last video, I totally overpaid cameraman for this. 5,500 bucks for this car was a bit steep. However, I did sell the exhaust off of this for 200 bucks, so I'm currently invested into it at $5,300. On top of that, this trade we're about to look at has offered me 500 bucks, so if that goes through, we'll be into that. What's the math, cameraman? What's the math on that? 4,800 bucks if we can get cash on top. But even if we can't, I'm happy to get rid of this Camaro and move on to something a bit better. This was when disaster struck. On the drive there, the camera magically stopped recording sound, so I'm gonna narrate everything that happened until we got sound again. This is me driving like a douchebag. This is when I won a drag race with the Prius in a merge lane. This is me seeing the trade-up truck for the first time. I was gonna record the interaction with these camera glasses, but they're f***ing broken, so we got nothing. This 93 Chevy ended up having 280,000 miles. The paint was bad, but the test drive went pretty well. Well guys, here it is, 93 Chevy 1500. I came into this thinking this truck had 180,000 miles, and here we are, the odometer says 280. Not good. It's fairly clean. Driver, cab corner, and rocker are pretty crispy. If it drives fine, I might try to talk them up to more money on top. Now, granted, it is a single cab short bed truck. These are much more desirable than F-body Camaros. Mileage sucks. That's not good. Whee! Does not slip. It's not bad. Is it a trade up? Not nearly as nice as I was hoping for, but that's how Marketplace is every single time. So let's get back. I'm gonna talk to the guy, see if we can't strike up a deal. I just talked with the guy. Not happy that the mileage does not match the ad. I probably wouldn't have come here if I knew it had almost 300,000 miles, but I said if you'd add 1,000 on top, I'll do it. So he's talking to his wife right now. He really seems to like the Camaro. If he accepts, we will do a trade. He accepted and gave me $1,000 plus the truck for the Camaro. This was pretty cool because I had $5,500 wrapped up into that Camaro. I had sold the exhaust off of it for $200, and with this $1,000 on top, I was only invested into this truck $4,300. The drive home went flawlessly. I kept saying things like, I'm so happy with this truck. Cameraman and I bumped the Spanish CD in the radio and cruised 80 miles an hour all the way home. We pulled it into the shop and started assessing everything that we needed to do. My first priority was to depersonalize this truck by removing all the stickers, starting with the windshield, then the bad headlight tint, then the AutoZone racing stripes, and finally the 454 SS badges because the truck only had a 350. And that's when we made the horrifying discovery that the passenger bedside was wrapped instead of painted. So I made the executive decision to just peel the whole damn thing off, which revealed the bedside being half spray painted and half factory painted. But thankfully, that's where we get sound again. So goodbye from Tom in narrator land, where sentience is just darkness, accompanied by nothing but lonely confusion. Back to the show.
It's a new day and I'm having my wrap guy come to rewrap this bedside. I know it's not the right thing to do, but as you can see, it's not super heinous under here, and wrapping is a lot easier than painting. It doesn't matter. If someone cares about this truck enough, they're gonna strip it down and restore it. So what I'm gonna do now is basically clean this up because the old wrap, you could tell there was some stuff underneath it right here. So what I'm gonna do is try and smooth that out, starting with 320 on a DA, and then I'm gonna wet sand it. So when they lay down that new wrap, it's gonna look sexy. What I'm doing now is taking 1200 grit wet sandpaper and I'm gonna wet sand this portion. I know it's probably unnecessary, but it'll look a lot smoother under the wrap. I don't know, I'm just doing it because I don't feel like painting, all right? And I think it'll be fine. Everyone say thank you, cameraman, for filling up the bucket of water comically high. Cameraman is currently grinning ear to ear behind the camera because he filled the bucket up so high. Thanks, cameraman.
You're welcome.
I'm not putting too much effort into this. I just want to smooth it out to ensure that the wrap sticks and also looks nice and smooth. It's not gonna look perfect because there's some bodywork slash dentage here. Whatever, y'all know I ain't no perfectionist. This is the trade-up challenge. It's an excuse for me to be the sleazy car salesman that everyone's probably gonna call me in the comments of this video. Get this out of the way. What I want to do last, really quick, is just shoot something on this bare metal because I just sanded through that old paint and I don't want it staying bare metal underneath the wrap. So I have normal spray paint here. I've got it nice and warm. We've gotten the bedside nice and warm so it'll dry nice and quick. I'm just gonna shoot it on really lightly just so we don't have bare metal. Just in case my buddy that wraps is feeling frisky, I hit this with a DA, knocked all that loose clear coat off, because that's a real easy spot to touch up. And if he doesn't wrap it, we'll just hit it with some paint. As you guys can see, my friends Brittany and Ryan knocked it out of the park. This bedside probably looks better than my paint job would have. And the best part is, it didn't take me any time. I would have spent like 4 hours painting this, and I spent 0 hours painting it, which was awesome. However, it did take $300 out of our flip budget, which is fine, because we still have $200 left. After the bedside, they also hit the top of the fender here with wrap, and you literally can't tell. Again, so much easier than paint. Now our next cosmetic challenge is this hood. It was clearly spray painted. I have no idea if it was clear coated. I'm guessing not. And as you can see, it is very faded, except for where the stripes were. So what I gotta do is get the adhesive residue off of these old stripes, and then we're gonna maybe wet sand it and definitely buff it. A little bit of lacquer thinner makes pretty quick work of this adhesive. Boom. I would use the eraser wheel, but I don't know about the integrity of the spray paint, so I'm just gonna lacquer thin it, which is also not good for the integrity, but whatever. It's wet sand time. I have 2000 grit on this little sanding block, and whoa, it's as if that water's been sitting in a 30-degree shop. Woo! I'm gonna test a small spot, and if I fuck it up, you won't be able to tell because it'll be a small spot. I don't know if there's enough paint on here to wet sand the bumps off, but I'm gonna try. I think a good inconspicuous spot is here. I'm just gonna hit this quick, try and smooth it out a little bit. And that amount of wet sanding barely helped our case. In fact, I think there's still primer on the hood. I can't tell if this primer is underneath the paint or on top of the paint. And I'm a little scared to keep wet sanding to find out. Evidence is pointing towards it is under the paint and the paint is thin. So I probably shouldn't wet sand anymore. This is a show truck. This is a trade-up challenge. Daddy needs a Hellcat. Maybe it's a stolen Hellcat. Maybe it's a R-Title Hellcat with 200,000 miles. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna make this challenge about a Hellcat. I could give less of a fuck about a Hellcat. Alright, so I'm sure this didn't help that much, but it probably smoothed it out ever so slightly. So now, let's get crazy with the buffer. It's a little cold out today, extra cold. To start out, I'm gonna use compound on this wool pad. Hopefully it gets all the ugliness off. Load it up. I swear to God, I am spray paint's guardian angel. Look at that. Look at that, baby. Look at that. Come on. Do you see what I see? All Christmas inside. Okay, that is definitely not perfect. You can see many imperfections. It looks like it was rolled on there with a drywall tool, but looks better. Good news is we only burned through the primer on the driver's side, and it's so far up it's probably just gonna look like a sun reflection from most angles, so it's okay. There we go. Now we're looking pretty good. I definitely probably could wet sand this more, but like I said, I don't know if I trust the paint depth. For all I know, they could have just fogged it real quick once with spray paint, and I don't want to wet sand that off. Now I got normal polish, and I'm slapping it on this soft polish pad on an orbital buffer, and it'll get those swirl marks out that we just obviously created. I probably should do this on the entire truck, but I definitely don't feel like it. Now we're gonna double team. I'm gonna finish polishing this hood. While I do that, cameraman is gonna buff up the roof, and this thing's gonna look slick. After a good bit of buffing, the hood's looking decent, not perfect. I could definitely invest more effort, but I'm not going to because it's spray paint. The roof is looking shinier, so now I kind of got a wild hair at my ass. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the rest of the truck with a soft polish because I got like 4 panels to go and the thing will be really shiny. When I looked at this truck, basically the first thing I noticed was that they buffed the whole thing with a wool pad similar to what I just did on the hood, and then didn't polish it, so the thing's covered in swirl marks. So this orbital polisher and polish will help with those swirl marks. It's not gonna be perfect, but in the direct sunlight, the truck will look nicer. I believe this thing is now fully polished. So what we're gonna do next is go over it with a quick wax, probably off camera, just so we can bang it out, and we'll move on. Wax on, and wax off. She's clean. Next step, we'll toss her up on the lift. Now that it's on the lift, I see a couple little ugly spots in the bumper that I can just touch up with a rag and some gloss black spray paint. Quick little touch up there. You're not gonna be able to tell. And then over here, it's scuffed into something. Not too pretty, but when you have the microfiber and the gloss black spray paint, anything can be fixed. There was almost a little bit of surface rust on top of the bumper, but a quick wipe down will both shine that up and protect it. Restoration expert. I was gonna replace these headlights, but it looks like they were just dirty with adhesive residue and a little bit of spray paint from the previous owner, so some lacquer thinner is cleaning them right up. The undercarriage of this truck is actually really clean. Like, the frame is damn near flawless, which is surprising. But there is a problem. My favorite problem, this exhaust. It is janky, it is ugly, the exit looks terrible, and it's broken in the front. So what better reason to just cut it off and throw a speedy muffler on there? Not good. Easiest way to remove old exhaust clamps. in one piece, didn't even have to cut it off. The old portion where the exhaust was clamped on and then broke and there's welds on it, I'm just gonna cut it off. Chevy was really cool with this and actually used a standard 2.5-inch pipe right here. So a standard 2.5-inch ID exhaust pipe slides right over like normal. I normally have a stockpile of brand new stainless exhaust pipe, but right now my stockpile is running low and all I have is 3-inch. So I guess this truck is getting an overkill 3-inch exhaust. Basically all I gotta do now is neck from 2.5-inch up to 3-inch, which I'm gonna do with some scrap metal. Tricky little tech tip. This is a factory Chevy 2 3/4-inch exhaust pipe like off of your standard Silverado, and it works perfectly to adapt a 2.5-inch pipe to a 3-inch pipe. You just gotta weld a little gap. Perfect. All I need is a little sliver. Another sneaky little trick here, I'm gonna cut just a little slit in this 3-inch pipe. And then when it gets down to it, I can hammer it down and close that gap. Now what I'm gonna do is slide this in so it's basically flush. And then we're gonna weld all that together. Just melt it together and it'll be great. That'll work. Also, cool thing about Speedy's mufflers, as you can see, if you get some real power behind them, some real heat, they will change colors into the purple and gold. It's kind of badass. Of choice, Speedy 10. As you can see, this one is slightly used and also an OG Speedy 10 from my first ever launch, but it's on the parts shelf. This is a trade-up truck, so it can't cost me any money. Oh yeah! I just found these 2 random pieces of scrap in the bin, and I bet they were perfect for this. Ready? One aiming out. So close! I'm going to utilize the old exhaust hanger here, grab my super nice Speedy's Equipment exhaust clamp, and temporarily finger tight, just hold this in place for mock-up. You never know what treasures you'll find in here. Now I think I can get away with just using a straight piece out the side, and I can get it exiting about right here, so I just have to slash cut this. That's fine. I'm going to mark the body line. I think I can get this cut with the bandsaw. We'll see. The bandsaw just had a complete mind of its own. I don't really know why it wanted to go there, but I can clean it up. We'll see if we're on the right track. Oh yeah, we are. And our custom exhaust tip. That's gonna look nice. Now I'm gonna install this last because I don't want to weld it all together and then tighten everything and it doesn't look right. So I'm going to weld the rest of the exhaust system in full, bolt it onto the front, tighten this hanger clamp, and then we will install the tip. Gonna tighten up the front. Nothing crazy. Oh, there ain't never been a Tom's Refurb exhaust that ain't sturdy. And last but not least, for the finishing touch on this exhaust, our custom tip. Doing some yoga here. It's okay. All right, I like the look of this. And the tack. And we're done, baby. You might be wondering, Tom, why are you laying on the floor? The reason is I'm taking photos of the undercarriage of the truck, the frame, the inner rockers, etc. Because people are gonna ask me about it, and I don't feel like crawling around on the ground trying to get good photos. So, I'm just taking good photos while it's on the lift. This thing is honestly really nice. If the driver, rocker, and cab corner weren't crusty, it would pretty much be a rust-free truck. She is now back on the ground. I want to try something right now, something disgusting. This truck has 300,000 miles, and to be honest with you guys, the interior smells just a little bit funky. It smells like, for 300,000 miles, people have been farting and sweating in the seats. So look at this. I bet this is gonna be really gross. That's so nasty, dude. I saw a video of someone doing that on a bus, and I just wanted to do it to this. I just stained the seat too, if you didn't notice. Now let's add a vacuum to the mix. I'm basically gonna do this to the driver's seat for like ever, just so I can get as much crap out as possible. Same problem back here. For nearly 300,000 miles, this interior is actually in killer shape. Like the seats aren't even torn. Maybe they're not original, but it looks good. Horn's pretty clean. Last thing we need to do in here is apply the brand new Tom's Refurb air freshener. That will help mask any unwanted stitch. I'm gonna be hanging it from the badass skull mirror that I am not removing because it's probably the coolest part of the truck. This particular air freshener smells nice and clean. Wow. In the engine bay, the biggest eyesore is the air cleaner lid. Oh, and the fact that there's no air cleaner in it at all, unless there's one in the fender, which it does not appear to be. I'm gonna restore the air cleaner housing here. Got it cleaned up, sanded, and prepped. Right on the bottom, baby. Tick. Fresh off the factory floor. Totally not fish eyeing. Oops. Don't care. What are you filming me for? I'm just replacing the brake booster. Real quick. While I'm at it, I could replace the fender wells probably too. That would probably work. Oh yeah. New fender wells, they are looking sweet. I did find an air cleaner lid and filter. I didn't really want to give this up because it was on the parts shelf and I'd like to put it on a hot rod, but it's pretty important that this has an air cleaner. Okay, the vacuum line back up. Get that bad boy tight. Woo, woo, woo! Second to last touch, putting this tag back on because it looks cool. And last but not least, for the crowning jewel on this refurbishment, who can forget, tire shine. I would drink this stuff if I could. I am so excited to hear my exhaust and to see how shiny this looks in the daylight, because I've barely even seen it in the daylight, period. Let alone as beautiful as we made it. And ta-da! I believe this truck is done. Let's back it out and check it out. That sounds nice. I like it. Cameraman and I listened to this entire CD twice on the drive home the other day. Alright, I'm just gonna park right here because I want to look at this in the daylight. Let's get out and check this thing out. Guys, we have turned something not so beautiful into something beautiful. Holy look at this thing. Honestly, this truck is awesome. It was pretty awesome when we drove it home, but now it's smelling better in here. It's clean. This thing is so shiny. It sounds better. This is an awesome truck. Like, I'd hop in this and drive it anywhere. So hopefully that means we can trade it for something really good and really cool. It would not be a proper trade-up if I mine. Come on. Well, guys, I got pictures of this thing. I'm gonna toss it up on Marketplace for a high price, probably like 10 grand, just so we cast the line out at the best possible trade offers. I want to trade this thing for something really, really, really cool that we can tinker on in the next video. So stay tuned. I'm not recording the outro outside because it's so cold. I love you guys. Keep your eyes out on the Patreon because I got a lot of cool cars coming. Check out Tom's Refurb merch and check out Speedy's equipment. See you guys soon. I love you. Bye-bye.